P, obviously Steph got going in the third quarter there. What did you see in the third quarter that led to that swing, and what perhaps would you have liked to seen your team do differently to halt it or limit that momentum?
Yeah, I think third quarters have been tough for us the last few games. We've let teams get back in the game. Going back to like the Memphis game, they came back in the third quarter, so I think it's just us, not being able to withstand the runs. I think when a team goes on a run, you have to either lock in and get stops or execute on the offensive end and get good looks. And I don't think we did either in the third quarter. And so they came storming back. And when you let a player like that get going, it's really hard to come back.
Not just tonight, but of course you guys have been struggling as of late. Coming out of the All-Star break, you guys had the win against Atlanta and then dropped the last couple. What are some of the biggest reasons as to the specific struggles that you guys believe you guys are going through, and what needs to change moving forward?
I mean, that's a tough question to answer right now on the spot. You just got to go watch the games, see what's the reoccurring themes, and figure it out. We got good teams coming in here, so can't just expect teams to lay down when you get a lead. I think we saw that with Memphis, saw that with tonight with Golden State. These teams got playoff pedigree. This team tonight has, champions on the team. They're not going to lay down. The game's never over. They understand it's a long game. And so, like I said, you let a couple easy looks go in, that's the start of an avalanche.
Part of this game was the question of how do you respond to the game on Tuesday. Did you like the way that the team came out, and how do you replicate that feeling and make sure that this doesn't snowball into something bigger?
Yeah, I mean, we came out with a lot more energy, a lot more fight. We were getting stops, start the game, getting out and running offense. We was letting our defense turn on offense. But, we came out the locker room flat, and, that turned out to be costly. So, we just got to learn from it and, figure it out.
For you individually, you had 41 points. Did you feel like you had to kind of take a personal responsibility to set the tone for the team throughout the game when you were in?
I mean, I feel that responsibility every night, come out, set the tone, be aggressive, and just play my game. But, I think I could have had a better second half and could have done some other things better. But, yeah, would have liked to just get the win.
I know it's hard to talk about, the positives right now after another frustrating loss, but before today's game, Steve Kerr spoke glowingly about you, about the young man that you've turned out to be, the skill set that you have from the time you guys spent with Team USA. To get that level of respect from an accomplished coach such as Steve Kerr, how do you react to that?
Yeah, I mean, Steve's a great coach. I really enjoyed my summer I spent with him on the USA team. I learned a lot from him. And, yeah, I mean, he's a four-time champion. He's coached and played with, some of the greatest players that ever played his game. So there's nothing he hasn't seen on the basketball court. And so just any positive words he has to say about me, mean a lot.
Thanks, Pete.
Going in the third along with post, but what did you see in that period, and along of what would you have liked to see from your team in that period that swung the game open?
Yeah, great player, had a heck of a night. I think that third quarter, I had to go back and look at it, see exactly where we let go of the rope, what allowed them to get on that run. Obviously, it was him making shots, but they had to be generated from somewhere, and it wasn't all just in the half court. So I have to go back and look at how we were handling possessions, as well as what allowed them to get out on that run.
Aside from Steph, because we know he can do those types of things on certain nights, but aside from Steph, what do you think was the difference?
The man had 56 points. There is no aside from Steph. He had 56. So I completely understand. I mean, I think, so be completely transparent, 34 free throws for a jump shooting basketball team is tough to overcome as well. They shot 45 threes and 34 free throws. And I know we were attacking the baskets extremely aggressively. And so I look at that, and I had a conversation at the end, and I want to help or be helped to understand how we can attack the basket the way that we do. And they shoot a ton of jump shots, and they get 34 free throws. I really want to understand that.
You had a conversation with who? The
referees at the end of the game.
Okay.
Kind of looking at the offense, you guys have gone through some of those offensive lulls throughout the course of the season. What needs to happen to get yourself out of it? I know a lot's on Paolo and Franz's shoulders, and they obviously did a lot tonight. But what needs to happen when you kind of hit those ruts?
We just got to move it. I mean, the first half, it was the ball was popping, ball was moving, sharing it, getting out in transition, getting stops, out and running. And I think in that third quarter, I think we stalled out a little bit. And I think at the end of the day, for what we need to do, you've got to keep doing the things that got you success in that first half. And that was simple. We shared it, we moved it, got it around the horn. And then, whether the ball goes in or not, it has energy with it. And so I think that's one thing that we'll continue to look at.
Forgive me if this is too simple of a question, but when Steph gets going like that and somebody of his capabilities on a roll like that, is there anything defensively that in the moment when that's happening that can be done to slow that?
He's always moving. They're always looking for him. We switched up. He found a way to slip out of it, get to a corner. They found him. A lot of that happened also in transition in the cross matches, and where he's just coming up. They get a high screen, and he's coming down the floor and just pulling. And, he's unbelievable. There's a reason why he is who he is. And now that's not an excuse for what we are, maybe some of our lapses, but he's an amazing basketball player that made some amazing shots tonight because that's what he's capable of doing. And, again, you have to look at the film and find out where there were points in the half court where our communication could have been up, but there's also points of him being Steph Curry.
Were there any adjustments you wish you had made earlier in order to stop the Warriors' momentum?
Yeah, again, I'll go back and look at that third quarter, which is where they made their run. There's opportunities, whether it was in transition in the half court. I'll have to go back and look at more of the half court opportunities that we could have maybe double teamed him, or whether we switched and tried to run to get it out of his hands. They have shooting in there in that situation, that adjustment in the second half and putting post in there to be able to switch out was able to keep more space on the floor for Steph.
We know part of tonight was how would this team respond to what happened Tuesday night. First, were you happy with how this team responded to Tuesday night?
100% yes. 100% yes. If we can respond that way and play that hard consistently and have that energy and have that spirit, we are going to put ourselves in a very good position. And that's what you're asking. How do they respond? Which they always do, and we always do. And so that's going to put us in a better position if we can play that hard and understand what we can learn from this game.
And then I kind of maybe answered it, but then the follow-up is, how do you make sure this team doesn't allow the results to cloud the process that created that response?
Because you look at the process. You look at where you were finding the right shots, what you could do differently, where you were when they went on the run, how we can keep our composure, understand they did go on the run. We calmed it down. We got ourselves back within 5, I think, at one point. But just being able to sustain those runs, and I think that's what we've got to continue to learn from.
Gary had been the first off the bench the first 4 games out of the break. You went to Jet tonight. What went into that decision?
I just think, the opportunity for Jet to get some time. And I think he did a very good job in that first half of coming out and playing and stepping into a shot, defending the right way. I think he did a very good job there. Again, we'll go back and look at the film and evaluate and see the things that we need to do in order to, one, not let a guy find 56, but again, it's part of who he is in some ways. But the other side of it, what did we do good that we can build upon as we move forward?
What can you say about Cole's toughness tonight?
I think he's resilient. He's a tough, fearless young man, and that's what you ask of him, and that's what you need him to be and do.
You mentioned they started the second half with posts, and he had 16 of his 18 points in that second half. Just what was the challenge of defending him and adjusting to that adjustment?
Knockdown shooter. Obviously, Steph had it going, so in those situations, you're deciding if you're going to switch 1 through 5, and if you do that, then you're obviously leaving Steph open to run everywhere. And so trying to decide if you're going to put a big on post or a small on post, and then you got to figure out where your advantages are and what they have. Now, mind you, if we keep moving and sharing that basketball the right way, then I don't think it turns into a lot of that, because a lot of that was transition. But I'll go back and look at it and make sure that's exactly what it was.
Thank you, Coach Moseley.
Thank you all.
I'll be back with